Hello, my new friends and my old friends as well, and welcome to February's Tooltime Tuesday. I am so excited to be working with this newer collection to me. It's a simple vintage lakeside. It's something that has come in fairly recent into my stash. I have a ton of photos to document, and so I'm showing you here the different papers that I have brought in for this double page interactional scrapbook 2-page layout. So the month of February, the prompt for this particular month is sewing. So I don't sew on my layouts. If you've been following me for a little while, you know I don't usually sew. But I will say that I am going to be doing some stitching, right? So the prompts for the month, any month, it's just really thinking about things that you have in your stash and how perhaps you don't have the exact same thing that we do, but how can you use it? How can you incorporate it into your layouts to be able to use the things that you already have? I can tell you I'm going to be digging out some stitching templates for this one. And I can tell you those, I was so excited. I found them on sale at Tuesday morning. I don't even know what year. And they have pretty much sat there for a really long time. So I am going to be using that as part of my layout. Looking back, I probably could have stitched a little bit more, but it's a very masculine page, right? And so come along with me and take a look at what I create. You can even do some stitching on very masculine, what I think are very masculine pages. So I'm going through, and I've showed you the papers that I'm going to use. But here I'm just showing you the rest of the papers that I brought. And I'm showing you 2 and 1s for how many papers I bought of that, the particular sheet I'm showing you. Mostly bought it for the B side, but I love the A side. Oh, I love that paper. I cannot wait to use it. I bought 2 of those and love that as well. And I bought just 1 sheet of the cut aparts. I think I forgot to say. And that's it. I didn't buy any embellishments. The cut aparts, do you get that? I bought nothing else from the collection, just the papers. And because I know, right, my family loves to do some date trips, weekend trips where they like to go fishing. So that's what this is going to be about. Here, what I'm showing you here is that I have gone ahead, I've jumped quite a bit, and I've put the background papers together. Here, I'm just placing this 1-inch strip, just fishtailed, and I'm going to do this same exact mirroring of that orange piece of a strip to the other side. So normally I just eye this. Yeah, I tried to pull it up. I think I pushed on it too hard and I could hear it rip in the paper. So we're going to have to live with the crookedness. It's fine. It'll be fine. I don't think it's that noticeable, but if you are very you're into using your ruler that way, go right ahead. Judge away. I don't worry about any of that stuff. So I wanted to make it even, but I can't even notice it at this. So I have gone ahead and I have matted all of my photos on Whisper white cardstock from Stampin' Up that I had in my stash. It's an 8.5 by 11. So yay me, I used a whole bunch, and then I just realized, I'm like, I may want to tuck some stuff stuff in this corner. I'm like, I should not have put adhesive. So that's the nice thing about the ATG. It is very forgiving and it does come off fairly quickly. And now I am going to do the same to this. I'm going to adhere. And that, what I'm holding right now, is actually the interactional piece of the layout. It's just a quick flip. It's just a quick flip element. I'm trying to think of the word. What's the word? And I know that I want these two pictures at the very top. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place that interactional element right below it. So I'm trying to decide, do I want it centered? Do I want it off to the side? I may have done some of that off camera, but that's essentially some of the things that I was doing it. Probably, you know, very close to the time when I was starting to assemble things before, you know, videotaping here. And so this is, so all of it is on the Whisper white cardstock. For some reason, this side came up really quick. I didn't seem to rip as much. So, and I ended up using the Whisper white cardstock again. I scored it right down the middle, and then I had already printed. I batch print my photos, and so I had already printed them 3x4. So I just cut everything up. I kind of just totaled the numbers, and I knew that it was going to work with 3, 3, and 3. So you'll see those at the end. Here are some things that I cut out of my Cricut files that I had already. Oh, some of these are so adorable. The viewfinders I already had already in my Cricut. The fishing pole and the hooked on fishing. Right? Is that correct? Let me think. Those turquoise fish. Hold on. I'm trying to remember. I got some of the files. So if you're ever looking for a file, always look to see what you've uploaded. Obviously, if you know Cricut Design Space or probably in your Silhouette, same thing. But just note that there's other free file, SVG files where you can download. And if you don't know about, you can download files and convert them as well. So you're not locked into not being able to use this type of file or this type of file, that kind of thing. So for the Cricut, we can use various types, but the SVG, I think, tends to have some of the best cuts. So I went to the Love SVG. You can get lots of free printables. I believe I know that's where the Hooked on Fishing title is going to come from. I don't know about the fish or the fishing pole. I want to say there is a fishing pole on there, but I don't know if that's the one I cut out. Anyway. Anywho, we are here. I'm just showing you all of the little bits and pieces. And I'm doing this because I want to, as I'm kind of putting the next touches on my layout, I want to be able to see, right? So here I am thinking, I want to use that wood grain. I want to use one of those fishing poles. I can tell you that the textured cardstock is always such a beast in, I'm starting I'll come back to that. I'm going to start the stitching. So here I'm just showing you some of the Amy Tangerine, and you don't have to use the tools. Again, you can use a thumbtack. Here I'm just showing you, this is just string or embroidery floss from my my stash, what came in some of these stitching kits, my needle, that also came in there. And these are the stitching templates that I purchased. So that's one. They're all by Amy Tangerine. And yep, there I'm showing you Amy Tangerine. It also comes with that little mat so that you could do your paper punching, piecing, or whatever it's called, piercing. That's the word. So here you see where I've kind of sampled and tried it. And here is some of my stitching work from using some of the templates. So because I had to give it a test run, right? It wasn't going to go in cold, especially me and needles and stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. I can stitch and hem like a champ, but this actual going on layouts, I don't know. So this is how these particular ones came. There's lots of different ones. You could probably find some even online. I love that I think I was watching something, or maybe this is just something that I thought of. You could even print out, if you're able to print at home, you can print something out on just a piece of paper. And then if you don't give two wickety whacks about your paper, you just throw it out and you can make different shapes just by printing. You don't need to have any of these like fancy dancy templates. I'm just doing this because this is what I have, right? So you're probably wondering, like, what in the heck are you doing? Well, if you remember, if you just saw my previous cut files, you see that fish and pole actually had like a fish kind of, I don't know I don't fish, so I don't wrangled, caught on the line, I don't know. But essentially, I'm going to be stitching the line. Isn't that cool? And then I didn't use, they had like a little tiny fish from the cut file, so I'm replacing the fish. I'm giving it a different fish so that I've also cut from my cut files, and I'm just going to be adding it here. So I'm leaving this in because I want you to be able to see just how simple this is. When I do the additional stitching, I'm going to just fast forward and show you, and I'm going to screw up. Don't worry. I'm not perfect. But that's the and here I'm just taking a look, like, what can I use on that other page? I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. So one of the things that is really helpful that I didn't do on this layout is to have a threader. I think that's what it's called. You know, the little silver thing that you use to like help you thread needles. Yeah, I didn't have one of those. I have one, but it's like all the way upstairs. Like the sheer laziness of needing to have everything by you is what motivates me. So here I'm just showing you, this is a trick my friend Teresa taught me, that don't try to use the whole entire thing because you'll never be able to thread it. Like, I'm a novice to this stitching and she's a pro, so I listen to her, and I'm just trying to take this apart. So I find that only for this particular thread, using only two, because I think there's like it's like a six what do you call this, like the strings of the floss together. Two of them is too thin, but four of them is just right. Maybe three of them would actually work as well. So here you see me just doing some stitching, and I'm sorry, I needed to see like where to put the needle, so that's why you see me bringing it closer to me. But I think you get the gist of it. I think this is called a backstitch. I know nothing. I know nothing. I mean, I know some, but I don't know the names of things. I'm not an embroidery person. I wouldn't even consider myself a sewing person, sewer. not at all. Seamstress by far. Would you even imagine that my grandfather was a tailor? Yeah. He is probably dying of shame right now. So here I am, and I am going to finish this up in 1 second. But yes, so this was something that I was thinking about and thinking about. I was like, how in the world am I going to incorporate a stitching into this particular layout? But I thought that this was a nice way to give this particular element in the page just a little bit of pop to it. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't have expected, like, oh, stitching like on a masculine layout. I probably wouldn't have done that, but I feel very, very happy with the turnout. And we'll go back over to the other page where I'm going to go back to show you some of the interactional elements, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish this portion first. But yeah, I absolutely love this. I wish like I would have done it like maybe a little bit longer, left some space in there. I could have moved it up a little bit. Oh, and here's where I realized that it's too short. And I really, if you do this, make sure your thread is a little long if you're going to be doing some stitching. All right, so here I'm just going to finish it off. This should be, I think this is the last stitch that I'm going to finish off. And there you see it. Love it. Love it, love it. So I've gone ahead and I started my clusters. And here I'm fussing with these, but they don't, oh, these end up staying on my layout. Yes, I'm just putting the eyes on the dots on the eyes. And these are the ones that are going to get covered over. They don't end up staying. I mean, they do end up staying, but they're underneath. You'll see, I was trying to give the impression of bubbles. Because the fish are swimming in the ocean where the title is. So, yeah, I will say, let me go back and say that, yeah, I would not recommend, and I need to make a mental note for myself, I would not recommend cutting out cut files from texture cardstock. It made a big fat mess. I didn't end up using any of it. I ended up using the remaining scraps that I had for punching things out just with my punches, because that's what I usually do with my my papers that are left over that don't have full sheets. But I am happy to report that I did end up using all of what you see in terms of cut files. I used my 6x6 papers that I reorganized back in the fall. I took everything out of the paper pads and I was very happy. I think I am now with Scylla in that it hurts me when I have to cut into 12 by 12 papers. It hurts me. It hurts my feelings, like she says. I can't do your accent, Scylla. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what do I want to put here, because there's a bit of space there. I've done my cluster, but I'm still like not 100% happy with it. That yellow, oh, I just covered it up too. There's it looks like a yellow circle down at the bottom. That is what I'm going to use to kind of let the person who's looking at my page just know that that is a flip. And so it's a punch from Stampin' Up. That's like a tab, but it's just a circle instead. And So I'm going to be working on that. But for right now, I'm using these Jolie's Boutique, these dimensional embellishments. That's what you see there. The little vest, the little hat, the little, what is it called? Lure? Is that the word? And here's another lure. I think that's what it's called. And I'm just seeing if there's anything else that might work. I really want to use more things from there, but I'm noticing that it doesn't, I don't want to bring in another color. That I know. So I do like this one, and I'm just going to end up putting it right there. The magic of video. I am going to have some close-ups at the end, so you'll be able to see even the interactional pieces. You'll be able to see. I should have really done those check marks, but I decided to do the hearts, and yeah, I ended up screwing it up, you guys. I'm not gonna lie. It just it looks all right. It doesn't look the best. But I probably should have skipped. Like, I should have skipped the heart. And so, yeah, it's fine. I don't think my husband cares if I documented and messed it up on the stitching. I'm like, wait, what? What did I just do? Okay, we're going to come to, I think, a still. Here is the layout, and here I'm going to be coming back and showing you the interactional. So you see how many pages, how many photos, I'm sorry, you can actually get on this one layout by doing this scored flip. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.